I know you can't predict this. People always want to know how likely an EMP attack is, and
Hmm.
that's pretty impossible to predict. We can say, like, Russia and China, our own country, but maybe the way to look at it is, what are the how are the capabilities advancing that are allowing, I guess, your non-nation states like Russia, China, and the US, like, where you're getting down to terrorist organizations otherwise, to get to the point where an EMP can be something that, if someone just, they just
Mhm.
don't like what you're doing, a nation state's doing, they could go ahead and launch an EMP or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. There's not really a right answer, but you need a couple of things to detonate to cause a widespread EMP. You got to have some kind of a vehicle to take it up that high, and you got to have a nuclear warhead together, being able to mate them. That's not an easy task to have both. Um, but what I suspect is that you'd have an enemy of ours give it, if you will, to some, terrorist state or something like that, and they would be the ones willing to do it, to deploy it, with the risk that the U.S. really couldn't do much about it, right? If they're a small enough outfit, it's really hard to do much to them, as opposed to, let's say, China detonating, where now, it's kind of game on, right? Okay, we're in war, we're going to do all kinds of things to you as well, and I don't think they want to invite that kind of chaos to their country. So it's more likely, I think, to be used in a couple of cases. One, given to one of these terrorist threats that we have out there, and there's plenty, or done by as part of a military campaign against a major superpower, right?
Right.
And Russia's threatened EMPs to use EMPs on the United States before openly. They said, "Oh, we'll use an EMP on the United States," which we could too. They know that, they're not dumb. But it's just one of many things in the arsenal that could cause lots of chaos for fairly minimal effort, right? You detonate a couple of nuclear warheads over the US, you've caused all kinds of problems and chaos, much more than if you just destroyed a couple of cities, and much less likely to draw the full retaliation power of nuclear bombs flying at you, because it's more difficult for people to get behind that, right? If I
Mm.
look out my window and things aren't on fire, I'm thinking life's still kind of okay. Maybe I don't. My phone's not working right now. I'm not thinking up ahead of starving to death. Whereas if I look out and there's a mushroom cloud, I know we're at nuclear war level, right? Um, so I think it will be used at some day or another. We've actually already used small scale EMPs, is what I've been told, just not on the huge scale that we're talking about now, where these high altitude detonations. There are other EMP weapons you can detonate over military facilities, for example, and they just take out communications and control and that kind of stuff. And I think that's just another weapon in our arsenal and our enemy's arsenal.
What are your thoughts on the, everybody who's fired up, I guess, hey, maybe a year ago now. I don't know how long ago. I lose track because so much is going on the whole Chinese balloon thing. Like, do
Uh,
you think that's a pre-run to an EMP delivery system, or was that just more seeing our responses to and
I think it
gathering
was
intel on
Yeah,
military bases?
I think it was an intel thing and maybe a little bit of a test to see what we could, how we handled and how long it took us to detect this type of incursion.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think it was an EMP related thing. It wasn't high enough altitude to do really a good EMP type strike. But there's no doubt they flew over secure areas and they gathered information. We already know that. I, I mean, I'm glad we shot the one down. I was happy to see that, but it was all very symbolic. It took us, I don't remember how long, weeks to even discover it was flying over our country. Some farmer was looking out the window going, "What's that big balloon up there?" It was something like that, right? It was so absurd that, arguably the most powerful military nation in the world couldn't detect an incursion of, these giant balloons flying overhead with electronics on them, monitoring everything.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's frightening. Yeah.
Makes me wonder if we did notice and it just got buried in the bureaucracy, or what happened with it. There's so
Maybe.
much
Yeah.
potential there.
Yeah, and I guess it had been going on for years. They similarly discovered someone. President Trump was in office. This wasn't like a
Okay.
one and done. He didn't know about it either for quite some time. I don't months. I think they didn't know. I know it happened down in South America. They had some flying
Yeah.
aircraft. The Chinese just said, "Put them babies up. And let's see where they go."
Balloon technology, man. We're going, who would have ever thought, right? Going
Balloons and
back to that.
drones. The whole world is back to balloons and drones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're worried about drones and all the stuff going on, and we have balloons running around now.
yeah.